Hi everyone. 6 years ago, I was billing 150 euros an hour to do exactly what you're about to watch Claude do in just 20 minutes. If you're an auditor, an accountant, or you assign the audit fees at the end of every year, this is the video to stay on. Because the way audits actually get done is about to change, and most firms are still pretending it isn't. I'm going to hand Claude a real general ledger, a stack of 76 PDF invoices, and 2 years of potential statements from an electrical distributor. I'll run 3 textbook audit procedures, the ones ISA literally requires on every engagement. One of the findings would normally take a junior auditor 2 full days to spot. Well, Claude can get there in under 2 minutes. Let's see how it works. ISA stands for International Standards on Auditing. It's the rulebook every external auditor in the world follows when they sign off on a company's accounts. They walk through how the company keeps its books, test the sample transactions, check that revenue landed in the right period, scan the journal entries for fraud signals, and they compare this year's numbers to last year's to make sure nothing weird is actually hiding behind a normal-looking total. The 3 demos in this video are 3 of those 5 procedures. That's ISA 240, 330, and 520. You don't need to remember any of these numbers. The company we're going to talk about is Baltic Components SIA, a distributor of cables, connectors, sensors, and all the unglamorous bits of factory needs. Revenue around 9 million euros, year-end March 31st. I'm a finance consultant by trade, and I build these cases with findings I've personally seen in the client books. ISA 240 forces us to test journal entries for fraud risk. Look for entries on weekends, round numbers, manual entries to revenue, entries by people who shouldn't have access. The standard approach is to scroll through 500 rows in Excel with all the general ledger transactions. Watch what happens when I just hand the file to Claude. So first of all, let's give Claude the access to the directory of the files. So I gave Claude access to this folder, which has 2 different files. So the first one is general ledger, and it basically looks the following way. We have the entry number, the date, and then we have a bunch of different transactions. Usually you would have that every transactions would appear on 2 sides, debit and credit side, and you will have a bunch of different transactions, overall over 500 transactions. Well, you have to go through these transactions and check which transactions are actually appearing on weekends, which transaction doesn't have an approval, which transaction will happen, in the evenings, and so on. So those transactions might be with some sort of risks that we would need to double check. Second file is basically an HR access list. So here we have different names of different people that have either terminated contract or are still working. So this will also be needed to sort of check what kind of accesses we have, because now here we have different people posting transactions and approved transactions. Well, sometimes it might be the case that some of the people that have already terminated the agreement might appear in the books. So we want to make sure this does not happen. So once Claude has access to these 2 files, I'm going to send it the following prompt. Let me actually do something like this so we can read it a little bit better. So what is there? I'm auditing Baltic Components SIA for the year end 31st March. I give it the explain what is in the files. Then I say I run a journal entry testing procedure. I say 240, entries posted on weekends, round amounts, entries posted, blah, blah, blah. So I sort of explain what I'm looking to find in this file. Otherwise, I will need sort of to run through all those transactions myself and think about what are the suspicious transactions, and then probably dig a little bit deeper and ask for clarifications. Well, now I can just ask Claude to do this for me, so I can finally work with the actual transactions that really look suspicious. I don't really need to go through all the 500 entries. I don't need the formulas to calculate the weekends. I just hand it to Claude, and Claude just does this for me. And let's wait a couple minutes and see what results we're gonna get. All right, seems like Claude has already finished, and as we're seeing, it finalizes the message. So it says, all right, done. I tested all the transactions, and there are 25 distinct journal entries. So the highest priority findings are the following, etc., etc. It even lists me kind of the weekend after hour transactions, round amounts, etc. And it even gives me the file. So as you can see, I can see the file right in here. So if I open this file, it even created a file for me to sort of by color specify, insert the most risky transactions and the less risky transactions. And then it says, so let me check the risk summary. It says, okay, so as we can see right in here, the red means the high risk and yellow means low, and the orange sort of means medium. So let's take a look. For example, here it says these transactions of 10,000 looks risky because they're posted outside business hours. It's before the morning actually starts. It is again a round amount, no value in approved by column, so nobody has approved this transaction. Identical amount posted 3 times manually to account 1305. So ideally, in reality, what you're going to do is you would ask for additional documents for this particular transactions to sort of clarify what exactly this transaction is about, why we have it 3 times in the books. Maybe that's the same transaction entered 3 times, so we need to sort of adjust for that, or maybe it's some kind of suspicious transaction that just doesn't need to really appear here. So that's kind of one. The other thing is right in here that we can see that there's other transactions, round amount that was posted on Saturday, no value and approved by column, 15K for bank account and other income. Okay, so what's that other income? That's kind of interesting thing. And there are many more of these. So it's even created a bigger file so that you can sort yourself, but it sort of puts you out straight what is the right transactions that you need to check. It will tell you why it looks suspicious. It's exactly as we explained it. And it even provided sort of a matrix with kind of a main thing that if first of all, you're going to check for the red one, then you're going to check for the medium one, and then you're going to go for the low one. Yes, it doesn't mean you don't need an auditor anymore. Well, actually, this one actually points out to auditor where it has to look for, what questions it needs to ask, what kind of documents it needs to check, because this kind of looks suspicious based on the criteria that we provided, and it sort of looks for this type of things. So think about if you would have not 500 entries, but you would have thousands or 10,000s of entries. That's what usually accountants do. This would usually take much more time. So Claude can do this for you, and it literally takes like a couple minutes or so. So try this out. All right, let's move to the next procedure, the revenue cutoff. It is the easiest place to dress up year-end numbers. You ship in April, you backdate the invoice to March, and revenue looks bigger. Or the reverse, if you want to defer tax, the audit procedure tie every invoice around year end to the actual shipping date. Used to take a January 2 days. Now we're going to do this with Claude in a couple minutes. So let's see how it works. So now I'm going to give Claude access to a different folder. Well, it will need to check for 76 PDF invoices and compare this to the actual data. So we've provided Claude access to our specific directory with the files. So what we have here, we've got a sales register. Basically, this is a sales register of all the invoices that we issue to clients on different amounts, on different dates, with different payment terms, etc. So we've got something like 80 something invoices, I guess 82. That's one thing. The other thing, we've got the delivery notes. So this will need to be checked if something that we've actually sold, we actually delivered, right? So that's kind of another document that we will need to double check. And here we've got already, I see a little bit less documents, 80 something and documents. And in the sales document, we had 82 documents. So this is not matching already, but we'll ask Claude to check that for us. But more importantly is we've got also the folder with all the different kinds of invoices. So if I open up this one, you can see there is the name of the company, there is the buyer, and there is a total sum. So I also want my Claude to actually go and check all the invoices if the information that is shown in the report is actually correct. So let's do that. So here is the prompt. Let's actually read the prompt together. So I'm doing revenue cutoff testing for Baltic companies financial year. Again, I give it access to the actual folder, and I say for each invoice within 7 days, compare the invoice date, delivery, ship date, reality, flag invoices where the invoice is date March but good shipped in April, overstated, understated, there's no delivery note at all, etc. Give me a table of issues, right? So again, as you can see there are plenty of invoices, and ideally you would just go open each of the invoices and compare the information with the shipping date, with the invoice, the registry date, etc. In this case, we can ask Claude to do this for us. And again, let's wait a couple more minutes to see what kind of results we can get out of it, and we can check it for us. Let's actually check the result. It says done, 9 invoices, cutoff window are misstated, reality dates from this, and it tells exactly which invoices are overstated, and it says that net cutoff adjustment for the revenue would be minus 83,000. Oh, wow. It even says that could be 95,000. Okay, let's actually take a look, because it's also created an Excel file for us, and I want to quickly check what this file looks like. So as you can see here, it actually tells us the cutoff finding. It tells me exactly which invoice, which company, which date, delivery date, and it says the issue. So the invoice was issued on 31st of March on CFO instruction, goods shipped and signed on in April. So that's kind of the issue, and that's the overstated invoice because goods were not shipped yet. Then we got the March invoice bulk order delivered in April, etc., etc. And it has, so basically these are the problems where the invoices was actually issued before the actual shipment date. Then we got a new customer, no purchase order, no delivery note, goods not shipped, credit check pending. So we got Quantum Holdings, some random clients, 24K revenue, which doesn't really have any information. And this really looks fictitious. This really looks suspicious. And then we have the last one, which is in blue, Baltic Tech, and it says goods shipped on 28th, but invoice raised in April and posted in April, which is not correct as well, because it could be the revenue manipulation thing. So as you can see right in here, so we got the net adjustment to 95,000 to the revenue. And watch this, 76 PDFs, at least 3 big chunk of findings. We just did that without opening a single invoice bank account. How crazy is that? All right, two quick things before the last procedure. If you're new to the channel, this is the work I do with Claude every week. Real client tasks, no agency pitch. There's a subscribe button somewhere around here. So if I've earned it, please hit that button below, put that video a like, and comment what do you think about using AI for auditing. And let's move to the last demo, the analytical review. ISA 520. You take this year profit and loss statement and balance sheet, and you compare this to last year. You'll look at every ratio that moved more than 10%, and you explain why. The standard partner question on every file, tell me why gross margin went up. And here's how I do it now. I'm going to go back to my Claude. I'm going to open a new task, and I give an access to the next folder with the specific file for the demo 3. So if we look at these files that we have in the demo 3, we've got the financial statements of the company, multi-companies, that's kind of the same company still, but those tasks are sort of unrelated. So we get the profit and loss statement for 26 and 25, then we have the balance sheet, and again, this is a little bit simplified version, but that's okay for our example, and then we have a couple ratios already calculated. That's kind of one thing. And the other thing, we have sales by customer. So here we literally have 10 or 11 customers and their revenue, okay? And then there is basically the change of revenue per year per customer, okay? And let's actually ask Claude to work on these files and find if everything is actually fine. So I'm gonna go back to Claude, and I'm going to give it the following prompt. Let me actually give it like this, and let's actually read that prompt together. So I'm saying I'm doing analytical review for the particular company. I'm telling exactly what kind of documents I have. I say, okay, computing and compare this ratio. So this year versus past year, gross margin, net margin, days, sales outstanding, etc. Step 2, flag every line that exceeds 10%. For each flag, propose 2 hypotheses, sort of business explanation, and 1 fraud or error risk. And step 4, using the sales by customer file, check whether customer concentration is shifted. Be specific, cite the actual numbers. And as you can see, we couldn't even read the whole prompt. It's already done, right? So as you can see, it doesn't generate any new files here, but it gives me exactly the step 1. So first of all, it sort of compares the ratio. And what is more important, it says the gross margin is sort of increased by 3.3 points or percentage points, but if you look at the change of the last year, it's actually the relative change is 8.6%. Like for example, look at this. So net margin has grown 5.5 percentage points, but it's actually 31% growth. So that's a huge growth accounted for one single year. So this is probably the thing to actually ask how and where this actually growth comes from. So as you can see, there are a couple more things like days sales outstanding, inventory days payable, etc. And those changes are actually more than 10%. So this is where we probably want to dig deep and actually figure out what was wrong here. So why we have such huge increase in some of those numbers. So the headline, tension, it says, so revenue grew by 15%, but cost of goods sold grew only 8.9%. This is a huge gap, and the gap is the single most important thing to explain. So it does the step 2, everything that moved that more than 10%, and we've done this already. So let's skip this part. The notable mismatch is actually receivables that have increased by 85.5% and inventory 53.7% against revenue of only 15%. So this already looks very, very suspicious. Both working capital accounts are growing 3-5 times faster than sales. That's the classic profile worth the most scrutiny. Then it follows the same procedure for the inventory, gross margin, other income, etc. Customer concentration, revenue increase. So it says there is 1,200,000 revenue increase, which came from 450,000, 37% of the entire increase of this client, which is brand new, and then no flags it, credit check pending, payment received to date none. This is the highest risk item in the file because it accounts for like 40% of the growth of the company, but it looks very suspicious because it came out at the year and it doesn't have any advance payments invoices received and doesn't have any like real documents. So this is the first thing to actually check how this revenue actually, where this revenues actually came from. So it says also other 75 customer, which was in a bulk, have increased by 26.3%. Also worth a look since that bucket grew much faster than any other customers. So bottom line for the file, prioritize Phantom Holdings. So check this one first. The receivables, aging and post-year end collection, and the inventory count valuation. Those three tie together the revenue days, so in inventory days and gross margin movements that all moved in the same favorable direction at once, which is very suspicious. So this would literally take an accountant well, at least few hours, if not few days for a junior to actually calculate all those ratios, calculate how much was the change, and sort of dig deep to understand which of these actually look suspicious. Claude literally done this in a couple minutes, and for me, from the accounting point of view, this is exactly what I want, because now I don't really want to spend time looking for these suspicious transactions. I can actually spend time asking questions. Can you provide the proof of delivery? Can you provide the contract, the invoice, the documents to actually prove this transaction actually happened, instead of me actually trying to read those financials and trying to myself find some suspicious transactions. How cool is that? So 3 procedures, 3 findings. We did all of it under 20 minutes. And I wanted to be clear about what this changes and what it doesn't. It doesn't really replace the auditor. Somebody still has to sign the file. Somebody still has to sit across the table from the CFO and ask why 15,000 euros got posted to other income on a Saturday night. Claude doesn't do that conversation. The auditor still owns the judgment, still owns the risk, and still owns the signature. What it changes is the cost of structure. The work that used to fill a junior's entire week is now literally like 90 seconds of prompt and coffee. Audit firms that figure this out first will bill less, deliver faster, and catch more of those line items, and outcompete the firms that doesn't use AI. So here's the experiment. If any of these apply to your day job, pick one procedure on your next engagement, run it the old way, and run it through Claude, and then compare. That's it. That's the whole test, and you will see if any of these results actually worth trying. If you want help wiring this up on a real client files, the work email is info@flowby.ai. Email us and we will help you with the setup. If you found this useful, hit subscribe button and like the video. It really helps to promote the video. Comment below if you tried already using AI for audit or finance related tasks. What was your feeling? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.